New York, the city of lights, but behind the glittering skyline, there are shadows darker than night. This is Linda's story. At 70, she lost everything. Her home, her savings, her husband, her life seemed completely over. But 2 years later, she stood on top of a Manhattan skyscraper. As a self-made millionaire. How could such a shocking turnaround be possible? Linda had spent her life running a small business with her husband. But behind her back, he sank into gambling and piled up massive debts. One morning, a banker knocked on her door. "I'm sorry, everything you own is subject to seizure." Her knees collapsed. In court, the judge read the bankruptcy order. And her husband turned to her coldly. "It's over. I'm done. I'll live my life alone." Then he walked away. With a younger woman, 40 years of marriage, ended with those cruel words. That night, the lights of New York mocked her like cold laughter. She had nothing left, only despair, but Linda refused to give up. She sat for hours in the New York Public Library. She read books on business, investment, and online marketing. Her notebook filled with scribbles of hope. People laughed at her. "At your age? Starting over? Impossible." But those words only lit a fire inside her. Late at night, in her tiny apartment, she sat in front of an old laptop. Her hands trembled as she typed her first listings. She began selling small handmade items online. At first, she made less than $50 a month. But she worked tirelessly. She answered every message. She built trust one customer at a time. That small trust grew into a burning flame. Years passed. Her brand caught fire on social media. People said her products were more than items. They were symbols of hope. The press called her the miracle of New York. And within 2 years, Linda had grown her business into a company worth over $1 million. At 72, she was no longer a victim. She was a self-made millionaire. And then, destiny gave her one last chance. The house she had lost in bankruptcy came up for auction. Linda did not hesitate. She raised her hand, and she won. The house was hers again. Outside stood her ex-husband, now old, bitter, and broken. Beside him, the younger woman. Their faces froze in disbelief. Linda rolled down her car window and smiled. "This house is mine again. But you will never step inside." That night, Linda stood by her window with a glass of wine in her hand. The New York skyline glittered below her. 2 years of tears had turned into a victorious smile. From the lowest point in life, she had risen to the very top. Her story speaks to all of us. Life does not end at 70. Sometimes, that is when it truly begins. Even in the deepest despair, you can rise again. This is the unbelievable truth. Never too late to rise again.